Timothee Chalamet is one of the hottest new celebrities on the scene, and he is driving people to the box office in a way that most movie stars simply cannot do anymore. So why does Hollywood absolutely hate him? Why did they shame him at the Oscars? What did he do? What terrible thing? Oh, he said that they should make things audiences want to see. And for that, he was flogged in a way seldomly seen in Tinseltown. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going down? Well, the news. And we're bringing it to you right now, hot, fresh, and ready to go. Before the drive-bys even get a whiff, a sniff of what it is we're going to say. Hey, journalists, get your jumbo pencils ready. Notes should be taken. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into session. Click the like button, drop a comment, and if you're not yet subscribed, join today. Your wish is my command, Tom. Let's dive in to what we've got out of Hollywood one more time. It is Timothee Chalamet daring to tell the truth and getting hammered over the head for it. Folks, you won't believe how they're treating what is their hottest star, I suppose. I mean, this guy...
Why do they keep making me like him more and more and more?
Oh,
I don't understand.
He dares to say what everybody knows is true, and they go after him, and they are out for blood. The point of how Hollywood is treating Timothee Chalamet right now is to make sure that he stays in line, never gets out of line, and that everybody knows their place is beneath the moguls, the elites. Here's what happened, okay? Out of Marvel Mania, meet Timothee Chalamet, who got brutally insulted at the Oscars. They spent the whole Oscar ceremony poking fun at him. Another reminder, in case you forgot, Conan O'Brien, Christmas party, had Nick Reiner and Rob Reiner there. One of them lived through the night and one of them did not. The one who lived is in jail. But there's Conan up on stage and nobody's mocking him, but Timothee Chalamet mock him all night long. Why? Hang on. You won't believe it. They spent the whole Oscar ceremony poking fun at him. The host joked about him and the crowd cheered. Winners mocked him in their speeches. The Sinner's song performance did the ballet that he had to weigh in on right in front of him. They even made a mold of his butt and banged it like a drum. All this to protect art while publicly bashing an artist for sharing his opinions. What in the world? What did he do that made them so angry? Well, folks, here that is out of page 6 by Alexandra Belushi. Steven Spielberg, even he, throws shade at Timothee Chalamet in scathing comments about ballet and opera ahead of the Oscars. You have got to be kidding me. No, it's real. I want you all to know. They will hate Timothee Chalamet. And the fact that they will hate him for saying something that is so obvious is total evidence they hate you too. Steven Spielberg knows that the opera and ballet make a deep impact. After Timothee Chalamet said no one cares about those art forms, the filmmaker disagreed, stating, at the end of a really good movie experience, we are all united with a whole bunch of feelings that we walk into the daylight with or into the nighttime with. And there's nothing like that. It happens in movies and in concerts, and it happens in ballet and opera, by the way. Spielberg, 79, continued during Friday's panel. He added as the crowd applauded, we want to be sustained. We want that to go forever. Now, Timothee Chalamet made the mistake of daring to say that, well, opera isn't a big deal right now. Folks, I hate to break it to you. Opera isn't a big deal right now. Outside of a very few individuals. Andrea Bocelli, we're talking about you. You're the party of one, Andrea Bocelli. There's nobody else that's really doing anything in opera. I mean, I know they're doing stuff, but like, is it all over TikTok? You got people swiping through operatic TikToks, Instagram, YouTube Shorts? No. I bet
who's
you can
writing the best operas right now?
I bet you can find more yodeling. I mean, that. You could find more yodeling on the stuff that kids are looking at than opera.
This whole thing is ridiculous because he's actually said this many times before. We found out through our research, just nobody said anything until now.
Right.
It's a big deal all of a sudden. And I just find it ridiculous because he just said what was the truth. He said, you know, like they're dying arts. I don't want to be a part of a dying art. Right. Like that's all he was saying.
Right. So here's what he said, Tom. He said, I admire people and I've done it myself. Excellent. Who go on a talk show and say, hey, we've got to keep movie theaters alive. We've got to keep this genre alive. Another part of me feels like if people want to see it, like Barbie and Oppenheimer, they're going to go see it and go out of their way and be loud and proud about it. But for Chalamet, he doesn't want to be working in ballet or opera where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. Oh, hang on. I will explain. All respect to the ballet and opera people out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership. I'm taking shots for no reason. What he's saying is that you should not try to keep things alive simply because you want them to be alive when there's no market. What Carol has talked about before about market research, there's not a market for some of this stuff that's being celebrated at the Oscars. There is a market for Oppenheimer. There is a market for Mario. There is a market for these big brands and franchises and giving the audience what they want and going back to traditional storytelling. There's not a market for untraditional storytelling, for subverting expectations, for opera, clog dancing. Sorry, folks, just not a big deal right now. And Timothee Chalamet is essentially saying, give the audience what it wants. And for that, Hollywood went on the full-blown attack. Tom, do I have that? Am I reading that the right way?
You're pretty much correct. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And it's funny because Script Doctor brought this up a while back, how basically, yeah, I mean, we're at the last run of theaters here, to where in a few years from now, going to the theater is going to be like going to see a play or going to see an opera. And he basically said those things. And that's kind of what Chalamet's getting at, is like, look, you can make this artsy fartsy stuff all day long and do what you want and pat yourself on the back, but unless you give people what they want, they're not going to go see it. And he's just saying the obvious, like Scorsese was about Marvel movies and stuff, and everybody got down his throat about it. It's the same exact thing here. And, you know, all Timothy is saying is like, I'll take a paycheck wherever it comes from, whether it's Netflix or Warner Brothers or Paramount or whoever, and I'll do what I feel like I want to do, because I'm not going to be part of some dying art form and go out there and say, hey, we need to save the theaters. You know, I mean, I'm sure he admires Tom Cruise and all the other guys that are doing that for what they're doing. He's just saying he's not going to do that. And he probably thought he was in more trouble for, you know, crapping all over the theaters than in the ballet and opera comment. That is probably more of a slap back to him, because he's like, you know, what did I say that was wrong, more or less? And he left. They left after a while. Him and his girlfriend left. So, because they...
At the most woke Oscars of all times, basically what they did here, as their industry is collapsing, I mean, they have lost so much. California is in a free fall and an exodus. There are now more new media jobs in California than legacy media and movie jobs. This thing is over. The collapse of the box office is intense. And at the most woke Oscars of all time,
and not only that,
the entire time mocking the guy who said, give the audience what they want.
Not only is he that guy, but he's the guy that actually is making money in Hollywood right now. He's the only guy you could argue is an actual movie star that isn't already 30, 40 years past their prime.
But they want to destroy him anyway, Tom. They don't care. They don't care about money. They have the money.
The only guy who could probably save the industry right now, to be honest with you.
They don't care. They don't care. They want to have their ideological bubble. And if you dare say, give the audience what it wants, they will rip you for an entire award show to make sure everybody else gets in line. It's amazing. Carol, what do you think about this inverted Hollywood that no longer cares about giving what audiences want, but just care about their own narcissistic needs?
I think Hollywood has forgotten that opera and ballet is usually something for the upper tier. Yeah. At least that's always been my impression growing up, because it was like, oh yeah, if you get somebody to take you to like the opera or the ballet, like that person's got money, right? No, the rest of us plebs don't go to the opera or anything like that, because it's not within our lifestyle. It's not something that interests us for the most part, but because of that stigma. Right now, I have seen an opera, I have seen a ballet, and it's okay. You know, I can appreciate, you know, the skill and the athleticness that goes into it. But I think a really good thing that people could do is go take a look at how the professional ballet dancers are doing right now. I was watching an interview from a woman that's considered to be like the top 5%. And she only gets paid $50,000 a year to entertain all these people who are dumping mega cash to come and see the ballet, right? And her husband have to make like YouTube and TikTok content to make more money, right? And she's supposed to be in top 5% of what she does. Like she is the elite. She is the master of her craft, right? And she gets paid dog water. And so how long until she's like, I think it's time to move on to something else? And when you don't have that kind of appreciation, and we don't, right? Like how many, chat, let me know, how many of you are actually interested in the ballet or the opera or anything like that? Be completely honest. Does it appeal to you? Is it something that like is like, oh yeah, I got to do that this year. Like I'm going to make a ticket right now. Because I'll get live data and then I'll know if I'm wrong or right, because I only have my opinion to go off of it. But that's, I think, where the disconnect with Hollywood is, because of course they could go to the opera, and of course they can go to the ballet and all these other fancy schmancy places that we don't go to, right? And Timothy in this case is absolutely correct. We're not interested because there's nothing in it that really appeals to us. I think the last play I went to was back in 2013, and somebody bought me the ticket, and it was basically a murder whodunit play, right? And that was actually interesting for me, and the reason was because of the plot twist of who the actual murder was. I thought that was really well done. But that was before I became an author, so I didn't understand like the craft as well as I do. If I probably went and rewatched it, I'd probably like appreciate it a lot more. But that's my general opinion.
No, but you know what? If you think about it, so Broadway's doing fine. People pay to go see Broadway, but opera is not doing okay. It's just not something that's on the list of a lot of people. And what Timothee Chalamet is saying, Andre, is, hey, there are things that audiences want, and you either move along with the times or you lose out. And I'm going to focus on the things that are winning. I'm going to continue to try to grow. And Hollywood came out and just slammed the man for 3 hours straight over it for daring to say, we should make stuff that people want to see. They can't stand it, Andre. They hate Timothy, but they hate you.
That has me real curious. This is something that just occurred to me like now as I was listening to you. What has Timothee Chalamet done or said behind the scenes to warrant this reaction? Because now I'm starting to think it's not really about the opera or the ballet. I'm starting to wonder what else has he said that he's getting a warning for right now. We can get in line or you'll be getting more of this. This is a warning. This is what I'm wondering, because this seems like a warning for something like are you a conservative or what? Because like this seems like it's a warning for something. They're not just having fun. They're not defending ballet. These people, they don't care. And I mean, and that's why ballet and opera, they're supported by culture. And the people who are doing it, unless they're Andrea Bocelli, are dirt freaking poor. And Andrea Bocelli, he's doing okay, but that's because of record sales. That's because he has mainstream success. He's not opera, he's opera, right? And the actual opera stars you've never freaking heard about, and they are all fancy and stuff like that, and they live in astute poverty. That's real opera.
Well, what's really funny is they hate Andrea Bocelli too, because he performed in the White House for Trump about a year ago, so they can't stand him either.
Well, there's all kinds of things that always do that, but like the thing that you're right about is Andre. I don't know if it's so I wouldn't like jump to the conclusion that he's conservative. But
no, I don't know. I'm not saying it, but
I know. I'm not saying you are. But I see where you're coming from, and I think it has more to do with his statement, basically theaters, like I said, than him saying anything about opera or ballet. They just use that to go against him, right? Because of course, how dare somebody who's in the arts, go after a fellow artist? That's the way they're framing this. So you're right. This is definitely some kind of smear campaign of some sort, because like we did in our research, we found he has said this for years. This is not the first time he has said this. So all of a sudden now they're making a big deal out of it. I think a lot of it is because he won't play ball and just run out there and say, we need to save the theaters. Please go see this movie. He already knows they're going to go see the movie if he's in it. There was no reason for anybody to go see Wonka, but it was still a hit. Who knew what Marty Supreme was? Nobody. Right.
Can you imagine
if an audience clamoring for that kind of a movie? Sorry.
Can you imagine if a woman, let's say Rachel Zegler, let's use Zegler, okay? Zegler came out and said some things that were just so obnoxious to the audience, but Hollywood said nothing bad against her publicly. Can you imagine if they had taken, she's about the same age as this guy, right? They're about 6 years apart. Can you imagine if after Zegler did what she did, if they had brought a mold of her butt out on the stage of the Oscars and paddled it in percussion? Can you imagine, Tom? They would never do such a thing. This was a public punishment. This was a public humiliation of Timothee Chalamet on the front row, right in front of him and staring at him. This guy's staring at Chalamet right in the face as he paddles a mold of his bahunkus. They would never do this to the females, although they might do it behind the scenes. But this is the kind of audacity they had about shaming the man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like I said, him and one of the Jenner girls, I think he's dating, left.
Right.
Why would you know? Way through the show. Because he was just being they were just constantly going after him. Like, look, I've been on the other end of that stuff too. There's only so much somebody can take before you get to a point where you're just like, okay, enough's enough, right? Like, I get it, you want to be a dick, but why are you doing this to the one guy who could save your industry right now? Because again, like I said, name anybody who's not way past their prime, who's not Matthew McConaughey's age or even Chris Pratt's age, right? Because people forget how old he is. Like, Timothee Chalamet is one of the only guys right now who Hollywood hasn't exactly got behind, but he's managed to gain an audience and he's very popular. Right. Every movie he's had in the last few years has managed to either open at #1 or definitely made its money back. And then he's part of Dune on top of it all. And regardless of how I personally felt about the end of the last film, I said this when I saw the movie, I'm like, he knocked it out of the park. And him as Bob Dylan, I was like, holy shit, this kid can act. He's the next Johnny Depp. That's what I've been saying for a while. I mean, he doesn't seem to care about what the industry is doing. He just wants to do his own thing. He gets into his movie, he gets out, and he moves on, right? I can tell already he's one of these guys who doesn't buy in to the glitz and glamour BS. I feel that coming off of him, that I feel like he's going to be an actor of the people, and that's probably why people have gravitated towards him. He has that charisma about him that, you know, he's mysterious, yet he's approachable, kind of like Johnny Depp.
Absolutely. Carol, I'm going to give you the last word on this one. We have watched actors do just horrible, awful things. I mean, Alec Baldwin actually killed a woman. I mean, he didn't get arrested. Well, he was arrested. He didn't get prosecuted and he didn't go to jail. But on the production of that movie, someone died and he was the one holding the gun. Carol, nobody made fun of 3 hours of Alec Baldwin. And I can go through actor after actor after actor. This guy said, give the audience what they want. And they went after him viciously for 3 hours.
What was the question about that? I'm sorry.
What do you think about the values that says about Hollywood, given that people can do these horrific things and make horrific mistakes, but just saying, give the audience what they want, do the market research. They can't stand it. What do you think that says about the values of Hollywood and narcissism, frankly?
I think they're comfortable. Like, they know they're getting their money from a source, so they don't need it from us. You can take BBC, for example, with Doctor Who. That show hasn't gotten any better. And part of why it hasn't gotten any better is because they're funded through taxes and not through actual viewership, right?
Great.
So I have a suspicion that they're definitely getting paid from a source and it's not from us. And so because they don't have to worry about money like that, they're okay with this type of behavior. The other thing that kind of stands out to me is, I think, if they had, like you said, done that to Ziegler, like, the media would be on fire about it. And I don't think that kind of sexual harassment is okay for anybody, because that's honestly what it was at the end of the day, especially when you bring out the butt. Like, could you imagine like them doing that to a female actress? Like, the whole place would be burned down at that point. And just the fact that I think it's also circling back to the current trend right now, which I'm not a fan of either, about, saying it's okay to bully and harass men in this shape and fashion and just telling them to take it. If this was done like 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure Timothy would have gone into the parking lot with somebody and handled it with fisticuffs, because that's how things got done then. But like, it's just crazy. And I think it's that Timothy's treatment was extremely inappropriate, it was unprofessional, and it's an extreme shame on Hollywood that they thought that they could treat somebody who is honestly probably not going to carry them. Well, I can't even say they're going to carry them, but they'll probably like CG him or something like that, because they've got enough like of his physical and voice assets to probably make something work, which is also sad.
Just steal his massage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well said. This is the biggest slap, not in the face, but in the butt, since Will Smith. Different kind of place, but that's what they did, folks. And Chalamet maybe should have went up there and said, keep your paddles off my effing butt. Maybe. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew. And that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. Remember, this Wednesday is the Disney Shareholders Meeting. Coverage live on the Pro Channel begins at 10 a.m. this Wednesday. Also, friends, if you'd like to join us for MegaCon, we'll have a booth set up for you to join. Info on the screen. Come see Marvin, Lorne, and maybe one more at MegaCon, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Friday. We'll see you. Thanks for being here. You're the Gigawatts.